West Papua, a majestic land of great natural resources. The site of the largest gold and copper mine in the world, and a key location for numerous foreign companies who glean handsome profits from the land's resources. Yet the majority of the indigenous people of the land live in impoverished conditions. Many Australians may not be aware of the existence of West Papua, one of our closest neighbours, a mere 334 km from the shores of Darwin. Despite the hesitation from international aid groups to support West Papuans, local groups are responding to the poor living standards of their people. This is their story. Lamag Papua is a successful grassroots group that works with an Australian partner, the West Papuan Development Company, to support communities to build and maintain their own safe water sources. With safe access to water, Papuan communities are able to live without fear of common waterborne diseases, frequent cases of infant mortality, and achieve greater social mobility and capital. Tropical Papua has a high rainfall, so many people do not imagine there are clean water issues in Papua. However, the reality is that every corner of Papua outside the main towns struggle with clean water access. Furthermore, in many areas there is no particular form of sanitation, and people often rely on creeks to remove human effluent, meaning people must walk yet further to access clean water. There is no such thing as built-up resilience to the diseases that dirty water brings. Neighbouring PNG is a close example of what supportive water aid can provide, as with much the same topography and almost identical water challenges, PNG experienced a population growth from 1.7 million in 1950 to 7.32 million in 2013, compared to West Papua, where the indigenous population is now estimated to be less than 1 million. Clean water is an essential life force. Lamag Papua, working together with WPDC, seek to return clean water to Papuans. Today we join the Lamag Papua Clean Water team as they visit a village just a few hours out of the main city of Jayapura, an area that has been the target of widespread transmigration programs. The people tell us that around 10 years ago, the creek they previously relied upon was diverted so someone with influence could use the creek water for commercial purposes. And since then, they have had problems accessing clean water. They use a small water hole to manually obtain water for cooking, washing and domestic animals. Often this task is left to women and girls. This family has no toilet, so the bathing area is also used as a toilet. It's wet underfoot. This is where much of the hard work happens, with cleaning dishes and pots and pans and clothes. The water, of course, is carried for every task. There is no running water. They try to catch as much rainwater as they can for drinking, but this has to be done in small water containers. Only rarely does one see a small tank the size of a large hot water meter, as even tiny water tanks are financially out of reach for most Papuans, as is the purchase of bulk water. Here the team will build a well that will provide for 3 or 4 large families. It's estimated that the well should provide clean water for the next 40 or 50 years, so it will be there for these adults, grandchildren and their families. The cost to build a well in a location like this is around $2,500. Let's have a look at the process the team uses to build the wells. In many parts of the developing world these days, mechanization is used to dig wells, as hand digging is far from easy. But in West Papua, that is not an option, so the team is digging by hand. The leader of the team has been specially trained to certificate level in the use of the molds, so he in turn has trained a team of young people who couldn't afford to finish their tertiary education, thereby giving employment to young and highly motivated young people who want to help their community. Before the team arrives, the team leader has already done the survey of the site and talked at length with the local village people about the program and best location for the well. So once they land, they know exactly where they will be locating the well, how deep it will need to be to access clean water, and so on. The depth of the well will depend on the depth of the water table, but in this area they need to dig 8 to 10 meters down. The key to the program is the unique molds used. There's not many roads in Papua, and often people have to fly or go around the coast by ship. So the molds have been custom made from fiberglass to allow them to be easily carried. The molds disassemble into several parts, so they are light and highly transportable. They get straight into it and assemble the molds. Once assembled, they waste no time and get on with mixing the cement to make what are called the collars. Great care must be taken to get the right mix so the cement once formed is strong and lasts for many years. That's assisted by using wire mesh inside the cement collars. Notice how the top of the inside and outside parts of the mold are at different levels. This is indeed the key, as once filled with cement, the team will finish the top so the lip of the collars are at an angle with a sharp edge. As we'll see later, once they have the weight of a couple of collars on top of each other, the bottom collar starts to cut into the ground itself. It's a matter of digging the dirt under the lip evenly around the collar, and then it opens the ground itself due to the sharp edge. Whether it's the first collar being dug or the last one, none of it's easy when digging by hand. But the team never seem to lose the spirit of motivation, as they know it brings about a wonderful change for these families and changes their standard of living instantly. With the first one dug in, they now place the second collar on top. The collars are extremely heavy, so it needs close supervision to watch out for everyone's safety. It takes a bit of juggling to get the collars sitting nicely in line, and then they cement over the join to prevent any water seeping through the sides of the well later on from outside. There's only one way to get the dirt out of the hole. It's important that they dig around under the lip of the collar evenly, as if the collars go down unevenly, they can accidentally come slightly apart at the joins. Rather, they should sink evenly into the ground and fit tightly together. The sharp edge of the collar cuts into the ground once they have dug the dirt away beneath. They use a water level to constantly check the collars are sitting flat, and where they need some extra push on one side or another to get the right angle, the team will lean on the top collar or stand on it to get some additional weight. Then it's time for the next collar. Once they hit the water table, they start to see the effects of springs. After a while, they need to pump the water out so they can get on with the job. Only the very agile young men go down at this point, as they also need to be able to easily climb back up the simple handmade ladder. Whilst the team members down the well digging take turns, there's also plenty of work at the top, lifting the buckets of dirt, getting that off-site and cementing the joins of the collars. Once they are down to clean water, the dig continues according to the original survey data of how deep it needs to be to ensure the families will be enjoying clean water without any risk of contamination from groundwater and other contaminants. Finally, once the last collar is down, there is a filter made at the bottom with a layer of sand followed by different sizes of gravel or coral. They then give it a final wash inside, and the plumber then hooks up some small diameter pipes and taps so the families can pump the water close to their homes. Each family provides their own small pump, so it's clear who pays for what electricity. In this location, electricity is available, and the families have opted to install electrical pumps.
Kami tiga keluarga tidak bisa membalaskan semua kebaikan pemberian kasihnya yang telah melewati dengan semuanya. Hanyalah Tuhan yang akan membalaskan semua. Mudah-mudahan ke depan kami bisa manfaatkan air yang baik, kami bisa pelihara. Ketika kami tidak ada yang akan menggantikan atau ada penerus anak itu kami menikmati. Itu saja yang mau saya sampaikan kepada yayasan Papua. Terima kasih.